Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Lots going on in the Valorant world right now. Sentinels Psycho, their coach, potentially revealing that another addition to their team will be made in due course. And also Ethan, not a happy man at all about the state of Valorant from a competitive perspective. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thanks very much indeed for doing that one. Firstly, let's talk about the Game Changers World Championship, which began yesterday. This was a crazy series between Cloud9 White and G2. It went down to the wire in Game 3, and this was like actually awesome. This is one of the coolest things I've ever seen any team do, to be honest. This Yoru fake is unbelievable. Look how baited Cloud9 White get here. Like, she runs into the site Giuliano, and then she teleports all the way to the other side of the map, and it pulls the whole rotation. That one Yoru play pulls the entire rotation. All 5 members of Cloud9 White end up on that bomb site, over at the A bomb site, and then G2 goes and just walk into B, get the bomb down and win the rounds. Like, this was just crazy stuff, to be honest. I've never really seen a play, well, I've seen a couple of plays like that before, but that was one of the best ever. It was 1-1 at this point in the series. Cloud9 White, of course, the winners of North America, look pretty unstoppable. I did mention to you guys the other day, though, this G2 Gozen team, because I would have said that this team and Cloud9 White's probably the favourites for this tournament. And, I mean, yeah, arguably Cloud9 White should have banned Pulp, because they got bodied on this map, and it was kind of a nail in the coffin. It was this 1v4 from Mimi. You guys might know Mimi, like, I used to watch her stream a little bit when she was, like, basically a CS player. I guess she moved to Valorant, and, yeah, this 1v4 was not a particularly good sign for the G2 team, and maybe they'll think in the end they should have banned out Pearl and done something slightly differently, but I mean, yeah, it wasn't a great performance in this final map here, and G2 goes in, yeah, I mean, that they were just simply built different in this series. So this is the bracket as it stands. Cloud9 White, I guess the favourites for this tourney, I suppose, down there in losers already. G2 goes in already in the upper finals. So, you know, that's only November the 15th, and today we get the other teams playing, and maybe there's going to be some more upsets and surprises elsewhere here in the bracket, but yeah, both of these first 2 series against the Crew team and against X10 Sapphire were just dominant from Cloud9 White and G2 respectively, but then that crazy series leaves the bracket looking very spicy indeed. So I guess G2 goes to now clear favourites for the tournament, but yeah, definitely exciting stuff from day one of this tourney. And even this, right, there was some trash talk going on here from G2 and Cloud9 say, you know, who even are you guys, the one sending you to the losers bracket? So yeah, just good stuff. And even this from Will minus some saps from day one, with Mimi kind of topping the lot here. So yeah, thought it was pretty cool. Some really interesting Euro ideas and stuff that's been coming to play as well. So yeah, definitely some interesting games that were going on, and it's continuing over the coming days in Berlin as well. Quick update on the patch notes then. Cypher and the other agents that we heard rumored are going to get changed, they have indeed been changed. Cypher's trapwire, his length has now been increased about the thousands to 1500. The neural theft as well has been changed. This is what we saw, you know, before as well, that had basically been put into the public beta environment, and now it's been copied into the real deal. There's also some quality of life stuff as well in terms of yellow silhouettes, and it fades faster to make it more distinguishable from an enemy, and if the enemy comes into your line of sight then it disappears, stuff like this. So yeah, good stuff I think, and changes to Cypher. Does it make him particularly viable? I'm not necessarily sure it does, especially because Chamber hasn't exactly gone anywhere anytime soon, but look, they're at least attempting to balance the Sentinel meta a little bit. Fade as well, like has been nerfed to a degree, which is kind of interesting. Maybe this is reasonable from a competitive, like an actual pro level perspective, because Fade is very widely used, but in regular ranked play, Fade isn't like the most common agent in the world. She's obviously used, but not incredibly often. So yeah, reduction of the duration of the prowlers, delay on the bite has increased, near sight duration has been reduced, and nightfall cost to ultimate has gone up to 8 from 7. So quite a significant reduction there. And also Harbor, one change here to his cascade. That's the kind of wall that goes out in front of him, I guess, and you can now get 2 instead of just 1. So look, I don't know what you guys think about Harbor. When he first came out, I think there was a lot of talk that he might be rather too good. Turns out as a solo controller, he's not really a viable option, to be honest, most of the time. He can be okay and potentially can work in some compositions, but yeah, he's not exactly like a do-it-all type controller player as potentially others have been, for example, Astra in the past. So yeah, does this change much to Harbor? Not really sure it does. They probably need some further tweaks to him to make him more viable, because right now it doesn't really seem like it's the case quite to the same extent as other controllers have been in the past. Let's talk Sentinels quickly, because of course TenZ has been out in Japan, now he's coming back, and him and Zekken I'm sure are going to be during up again. But there was a podcast that went down where Psycho was getting asked the question, because there was the reveal that Sentinels did the other day of Asu joining the team, and they also had like basically a leak before that, or kind of a teaser where he was standing there and they were like, yeah, we ain't done yet, this type of stuff. But of course Asu not part of their kind of Valorant system. Now esports Doug asked the question to Psycho, their coach, and says, hey, like you know, what's what's this going on with this kind of silhouette announcements? Who is it going to be? Can you talk about it? And Psycho says, yeah, well, okay, we are adding someone else to our team, but I don't want to talk about it yet. Now, it turned out that announcement was Asu, so I just wonder whether there's something else going on here that Psycho thought this might have potentially been.
About it.
Yeah, and at this point, I don't know if it'll be out at this point, but I also recently saw a tweet from the Sentinels Twitter saying that you guys aren't done yet, and all there is like a person, a silhouette, and that's all it is. Is that something that, given when you know this will be out, can be discussed or no?
I have no idea when they're going to announce that, so I don't want to say too early and end up everything up.
I certainly don't want to put you in an awkward spot.
So this, I believe, was what they were discussing here, this kind of initial teaser, and then AC joins the team basically as a content creator type guy for the organization. Like, as I said the other day, their clout performance index is hitting new highs. But Psycho was potentially talking about something else. Now, we know that they've already brought on, coaches and analysts, and they've got their 5-man team. They've got their substitute player as well. But would they go one step further with like an additional player? Because like Evil Geniuses have gone for this 10-man lineup. Could Sentinels go one further there? Could they go one further from their coaching staff? I mean, look, they've got already a 3-man coaching team. Would they go for like, data analysts or something in addition? Who knows? But Sentinels, after last season, I think their CEO made it rather clear. Last year, they dominated the world in terms of content and viewership and all this type of stuff. And the year before that, they dominated, the Valorant scene in terms of winning stuff in 2021. Last season wasn't quite so good in that sense. And then he was very clear that this year they want to do both. So maybe there is one additional kind of element and piece of their roster coming soon as well. But probably Chamber is not going to be going anywhere anytime soon, and Cypher is still going to be relegated to the sidelines for now until some significant changes happen. Let's talk about this spreadsheet again from Flynn. It does an update last night for the tier 2 sides. Now, we have seen for quite some time now that Nismo and co will be joining Koala Noob and John QT over on this mystery organization. He even reckons Astralis is coming to NA, so we can officially rule out Astralis from being the organization involved here. So not many updates on this, just to mention for the guard quickly that trials are now seemingly ongoing with Yona P, Trent, Valen and Net as well to round out that roster. This is the unknown organization and team. I know that some people were kind of looking at the spreadsheet yesterday and saw that the NRG roster had Xander attached to it. Apparently that wasn't actually Xander, that was Thryfo, but I believe Thryfo's name is Kim Xander. So I think people were looking at that, maybe get a bit confused. So I think that's what's going on there. And Xander is not going to be on NRG, but he is on this unknown organization. Seemingly no real update elsewhere to mention quite yet. Now I wanted to talk about this from NRG Ethan, who actually is now on Evil Geniuses. So I have no idea why he's still got NRG Ethan in his name here. Maybe he feels like if he changes it, he's going to get, unverified. But I'm pretty sure that's not the case for your name. I think it's just the case for your Twitter handle. But whatever. This is his key complaint right now about the state of the game. And I thought it was an interesting one. We've seen stuff like this mentioned in the past. And it's always been a discussion in other esports. Like, I think in Call of Duty, a lot of people have always said, why are kill cams even allowed? Like in Counter-Strike, if you die, you don't get a kill cam. It's kind of the same in this game. But you do get some information here in Valorant that you don't in Counter-Strike. If you're playing like professional CS, if you die, immediately your screen swaps to your teammates. You can't see anything anymore. You don't get any information after you die, really. And you also don't get to know how much damage you hit people for. Now, you get all this information right after you die here in Valorant, regardless of if it's, casual play or if it's competitive. And is this a bit too much information, right? There's always been the idea in Call of Duty, let's say you die, you watch the kill cam, you get free information. Sometimes dying can be beneficial because you get to call out, you get to see where the opposition are, where they're carrying the bomb to, stuff like this. And it's always been kind of said, well, maybe we should just disable that. Now in Valorant, maybe a similar thing is ongoing. As Ethan says, when you die, you get your combat report, the damage you did, the people that you flashed, etc. You can throw one sky flash, tether, molly, or honestly anything, and it will tell you exactly how many people are there if you die without even seeing anyone. So this is an interesting point, right? Maybe this lowers the skill gap to a certain extent, because if you don't get that information, like you can't just benefit from throwing your life away, right? Let's say you think that there might be many people at a particular bomb site. You can go in, take a fight, throw some utility, and if you get a kill and die, that's fine because that death actually benefits you by getting all that additional information, what damage you did, how many people you flash, where you need to tell your team to go, basically. Now, Chet, who's now on NRG as their coach, doesn't seem to agree. He says, stop crying here with the replies. So yeah, he reckons that this is perfectly competitive and there's nothing wrong with this, right? So I thought it was kind of spicy between the two of them, to be honest. And even as he went on to say here in the replies, like, yeah, instead do it after the round is finished, accomplishes the same thing, but increases the skill gap. So interesting, really, because I'm sure that Valorant want to ensure that what the pros play and what is played in kind of casual play is exactly the same. And it is for now, pretty much. But in CSGO, for example, if you play Face It or you play the pro stuff, then you don't get the information on how much damage you did until the round ended, which is obviously crucial information for your teammates to get, which you do get in regular matchmaking, but you don't get if you do premium or Face It or stuff like this. So maybe there's a world in which they could do that for Valorant. Probably won't happen, but I can understand Ethan's kind of frustrations here. But the reality is it might not be quite the biggest deal in the world. But very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.